Casper tried to write, but nobody cared about his sad poetry. He reread Kristin Lavransdatter again and again, as if the cure for his broken heart could be found somewhere between the 1,500 pages. Ingeborg was unhappy too, and she regretted that she had not disobeyed her father and married Casper. "You'd better cut your hair before I trip in it and twist my ankle," said her husband. "There are worse things in life than a twisted ankle," answered Ingeborg. And then something much worse did happen. Ingeborg immediately wrote a letter to Casper telling him that she was now free to marry him. But Casper never received the letter, and Ingeborg waited in vain for his reply. Meanwhile, Ingeborg's hair grew and grew. She decided to employ the children in the neighborhood to comb and brush it for her. One of them was a little girl who was exceptionally good at arranging Ingeborg's hair in complicated braids and knots and elegant beehives. Her name was Veslemøy, and she became Ingeborg's favorite hairdresser. Ingeborg's life passed uneventfully for years, until the day that Sigrid Undset died. "You must go to the funeral." "Why?" "Because she was your relative." "But she was Danish." "When a relative dies, you go to the funeral whether she was Danish or not," said Veslemøy. Casper was grief-stricken by the death of his favorite author. "You must go to the funeral, but it's in Norway. Just go." Casper did not like being reminded of death, but he went to Sigrid Undset's funeral anyway, and was glad he did, because there he was finally reunited with Ingeborg. Great, now I can finally cut my hair. Are you nuts? I love your hair. Casper quickly became living proof that some poets are better off happy than sad. He published a poetry collection called Joy and Happiness, which was translated to all the Scandinavian languages and became a bestseller of sorts. Ingeborg was happy too, but she was growing increasingly concerned about her split ends. When Casper one day tripped in her unbraided hair and broke his thumb, she saw an opportunity. She called Veslemøy, who was no longer a little girl but a young woman. She understood the urgency of the situation and jumped on the next train to Oslo to take the ferry to Copenhagen. The only available seat was next to a young man who was reading Casper's Joy and Happiness. His name was Petter, and he told Vesleme that he was going to Copenhagen for inspiration and to meet Casper Jørgensen, who was his favorite poet. "That's quite a coincidence," said Vesleme. It remains to be said that Vesleme gave Ingeborg a flattering haircut, that Petter's visit to Copenhagen was very inspiring, that Casper's thumb healed nicely, and last but not least, that Petter and Vesleme fell in love with each other. Sometime later, they became my parents. But had it not been for the Danish poet and Sigrid Undset, a rainy summer in Norway, a slippery barn plank, a careless mailman, a hungry goat, a broken thumb, and a crowded train, my parents might never have met at all. And who knows, I might still be a little seed floating around in the sky, waiting for someone to come and get me.